Hello, this video is going to show you how quick and easy it is to generate a schedule using StatZone. So for example here, I've already entered a bunch of blackout requests. If I click here, you can see them. There's some that are for divisions and there's some that are for teams. Go back up. So I already created a new schedule. I called it demo. Creating a schedule is easy. Just give it a name and tell it to type. Created a schedule called demo, and I'm going to launch the game scheduler. Now you can see here, here's all of the divisions that I created earlier and the teams that are in them. And I need to assign games. So I could upload a spreadsheet if I had a list of game matchups already, but I don't have one of those. So I'm going to have it auto-generate. I'm going to come over here and generate the game matchups, and it'll say to overwrite anything that's entered. That's okay. And a few seconds later, here's my schedule. It shows you how many slots you need for every division, etc. Now one thing I want to point out is in this video I'm not going to cut anything, so the actual length of time of this video is the actual length of time that it would take to actually create a schedule. I'm going to go to slot inventory now. Now I have created a spreadsheet that has my available slots. I'll bring it up here. Bring it down a little bit so you can see. Now so the format is like this. It has to be date first in that format with the 4-digit year, a dash, the 2-digit month, a dash, the 2-digit day. Next column is the start of the slot in military time. Column C is the end of the slot in military time. Column D is going to be the facility. In this case, it's always going to be the same. It's RMUIC because all the games are played at one facility. Column E is the sheet or the surface that the game is to be played on. There's two options, or there's two sheets that are used in this schedule. And then column F is the type. So for our case, we put full if it's a full ice game, or cross if it's a cross ice game. And you'll notice down here that there's actually two entries for each time, for each cross ice game, because you have two games going on at the same time. Okay. Optionally, in column G, you could add a descriptive field. That's not used really in the game scheduler. If you're creating a practice schedule, that's whenever it comes in handy more. So this is my spreadsheet, and I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to upload new slot inventory. And I'm going to scroll down to where it is, select it, and click open. I'll say, do I want to overwrite it? Yes, and hit continue. Wait a few seconds. Now, not only is it uploading, but it's also processing which teams and divisions can be played on in which slot. So that's why it took a little bit to upload. Again, only a few seconds. Okay, so there's all our slots. If I wanted to, I could delete them, I could edit them, things like that. I'm not going to change anything because that's the way we want them. I'm now going to go to assign game. Now, you'll see there's three tabs over here on the right. The teams, so if I wanted to see the team, it'll give me the statistics on it. That'll come in handy later as I go through. The division shows me how many slots are needed and how many are assigned. Right now we don't have any of that because, oh, sorry. So after you upload the slot inventory, you have to hit reload. That's why nothing was shown there. Okay. Assign games, very good. So there's all your games under the assign there. The divisions, you'll see the slot needed for each of the divisions and how many have been assigned so far. So far none have been assigned because we haven't done anything. As well as the games. So there's 455 games and here's all the game numbers. Now if I wanted to, I could select the division here. I could assign a game. So it'll only show you the parentheses shows you how many teams are actually available for that slot. So if I did that, come up here, and then I could choose one of the games from the list. Alternatively, I could click on one of the numbers here on the side, the game number, Let's say I wanted to get this one, and I could actually force it to a specific slot. So let's say I wanted to put it in slot number 3. And there it is, 15 in game number 3. Now, I don't really want to do that. I want to have it do it all for me. So I'm going to take those ones out of there. And I'm going to click here to auto assign games. I'm going to click on that. You have this pop up here, and you have 2 strategies you can use: the Able strategy and the Baker strategy. For our situation, we're at one facility, so we're going to choose the Baker strategy. Click on Baker. I'm just going to uncheck this, even though there's nothing already assigned, and I'm going to ignore previously assigned divisions. Yeah, I'm going to not ignore previously assigned divisions, just because I want to prepare it for the next time I'm going to run through it. I practiced this, I know how it's going to go, but I'm just getting ready for that. And then allow previously assigned divisions to be reassigned. No. We're just going to leave that as no for now as well. We're going to leave it at the default that our minimum time between games is 20 hours and our ideal time is 60. Now for this schedule, that's actually not going to work. Sometimes it has to be less than 20 hours, especially for these cross-ice divisions where there just aren't enough weeks in the schedule for them not to play multiple games in one day. I'm going to hit generate, and it starts generating. Now it'll give you an estimated time here, 4 minutes 5 seconds. That'll change a little bit as it goes ahead, but we're just going to sit here and watch it go, just to prove that we're not doing any kind of editing magic or anything like that to make it less time. Now if you want to skip ahead in the video 2 minutes, go right ahead, that's fine. Or you can sit here and watch it go across. Almost done. Looks like it's going to come in around 230, 240, somewhere around there. And there you go, about 2 minutes and 40 seconds thereabouts. Alright, so you notice, okay, we have 15 unassigned games that it wasn't able to define based on those parameters that we gave it. If we go to divisions, you can see, okay, there's some slots that just didn't get filled in, don't have enough yet. The games, you're going to see these are mostly might cross-ice games. Again, we knew that was going to happen because we said 20 hours. We can't do that. I'm going to hit auto assign again, and this is why I said it before, just so I didn't forget to check it the second time. We're not going to overwrite the previously assigned games. If I check that, it would erase everything and kind of start over again, trying to figure out the best way to go. In our case, we don't want that to happen. We're not going to overwrite any previously assigned divisions because, again, we don't want to change anything that's already done. But we're going to change the minimum time between games down to 3 hours. And click generate. So now what it's doing now is there's a lot of, or not a lot, but there's a few unassigned slots. It's going to try to fit in those 15 games in those unassigned slots. Again, if you want to skip ahead a couple minutes, you can, but I'm just going to leave this run. Oh, can't even skip ahead. It was done that fast. It was 20-some seconds, something like that. And now we're down to 3 cross-ice games that it wasn't able to do. That's not too bad. That's pretty easy to find a slot that we can put those in. Now I do want to point out that there is one slight issue, if you will, with the way that it did this schedule. It's not smart enough. So the full and the cross ice, it knows if a team's supposed to play on full ice or if it's supposed to be on cross ice. But it doesn't really know if you wanted to have a cross ice game made up of the same tier. So for instance, it has my tier 2 on one side and tier 4 on the other. The women are together, the tier 1 and then tier 3, tier 4 and the Crosby division, etc., etc. Again, like I said, that's because it doesn't know that you might want to actually keep the same divisions on there. So, if that's important, there's a couple things you can do. One, you could manually move them around so that they line up how you want them to line up. So, for instance, I could, let me see here, we want to do a tier 1 or a Crosby. Well, okay, so this is probably a bad example, but I'm just going to say for demo's sake, change it to my tier 4, and then there's nothing available there, but if I had one, I could put it there. Maybe move this one down here on assigned 65, and then I could put 65 there. That's one way I could do it. That's a little time consuming. It won't take too long, but that's one thing you could do. The other thing you could do, which takes a little bit more prep work, and I already did the prep work just for this example. So if I come back here, I created another schedule called Demo Manual Divisions. And I'm going to launch the game scheduler here. And again, we have our same teams. I already created the games for this particular schedule. I already loaded the slot inventory. It's the same one we were working with. And so the games are all blank. Except some of the divisions are assigned. What I did was I manually went ahead and I assigned the cross-ice divisions so that they matched up. So we got tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, Crosby, the women, so that they're all together. And the other thing, if I look here, so you can see all of these divisions have enough slots assigned, so that's why they're not red. Okay. And now I'm going to auto assign again. And so I want to, I'm just going to do this again so that I don't overwrite. Whenever I click it up again, I don't forget. Oh, better change that to Baker. We definitely want to not ignore the previously assigned divisions because we assigned them for a reason. And I don't want them to be reassigned either. Because again, we assigned them for a reason. I'm going to leave it at 20 hours for now, and I'm going to hit generate. And we're going to have the same issue or a similar issue that we had the last time. But let's go ahead and hit generate. Again, this will probably take about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, somewhere around there. If you want to skip ahead, you can. I'm just going to leave it run just so you can see. About a minute and a half left. Looks like it'll take about 3 minutes total. Okay, so there you go. You can see our divisions again. All divisions filled in except for Vietnam Tier 2. We'll get to that in a second. Looking at the games, we've got 28 that they couldn't do. Again, these are all cross-ice games as we scroll down here. Except for you'll see a couple of Vietnam Tier 2 ones. And the reason behind that is that particular tier had some restrictions that made it so that it couldn't they couldn't be you had to have some games on the same day. So just to show you what those are, I'll go here and I'll view the requests, and if I search for Bantam Tier 2, you'll see there's a blackout that they can only, my notes explain it here, but basically they only want to play Sunday and Tuesday. Now, the less restrictive in terms of days of the week, the better. So you don't have, I know if you're doing it manually, it might make it easier to say, hey, this division's only going to play on this day. But if there's no reason other than to make it easier manual, don't have that restriction, and you'll have fewer problems. So that's why that one. But then you also have the Black Knights. If we go down here, now they don't want to play on Tuesdays or Thursdays. Well, Thursday's not a big deal, but they're in Bantam 2, and they can't play on Tuesdays. And there's only, I think, 8 Sundays in the season, so that's where you had that problem, where I wasn't able to schedule some of them. Not a big deal. What we'll do now, if we scroll back up to the top here, we're going to do auto assign one more time. Leave it at the Baker strategy. We don't want to overwrite our previously assigned games because we just ran through it. Leave these other things the same like we had the last time. And again, we're going to change it down to 3 hours in between. And now, whenever I created the divisions or assigned the cross-ice divisions, I made sure that there was more than 3 hours in between divisions that I double booked on a given Sunday. And I'm going to hit generate. Last time it only took a few seconds. We'll see. Yep, there it goes again. And now you can see in our game tab that there's no unassigned games. That means it was able to assign every single game. We look at our divisions. Yep, there's nothing in the red there. And now let's go look at our teams here. We'll click on the first one. You can see, okay, there are our Tier 1 Kings. There's 23 hours at least between each game. Biggest part was 13 days. You're going to see that just because of the 4th of July. And then the average time is 6 days, 7 hours. You can see the various games listed here. You can scroll down, 23 games. I'm just going to start scrolling through a little bit faster. See if we have any small spaces here in terms of the minimum time between games. Oops. So 23. Yeah. Okay, 5 hours. That's a shorter one. It's the Maple Leafs. It's that's because they're having a doubleheader on a game day. They have to because they're doing the cross ice, and that happens to be on the 21st of July. And they did it. Same thing here. 5 hours, 5 hours, 5 hours, you're going to see that with these cross ice ones. So I'm going to skip ahead through those a little faster. Okay, so now we're into the full ice. And you're going to see 3 days, 2 days, 3 days, etc., etc. I'm going to skip through until we see any smaller ones. And for all of these, like I said, you can see all the games that they have, number of home games, number of away games. That's going to be even because it's going to generate it that way. Total number of games, minimum time between games, maximum time, and the average. So as I keep scrolling here, $10. Again, this is that Bantam Tier 2. You got the Black Knights. They actually have 2 games or 2 days where they had to play twice in a day. Nice big gap in between. The 10:30 is their first game. Second game is 9:30. Same thing on the 21st, 10 o'clock and 8:30. Ice Hammers, same thing. Bantam Tier 2. They have a doubleheader on the 21st with those Black Knights that threw us for a loop. Okay, 2 days, 12 hours. Again, Bantam Tier 2. Doubleheader on the 14th. 9 hours for Bantam Tier 2 again. And then everybody else, as we scroll through, I'm going to guess has a nice minimum time between. Okay, there you go. That's all of them. So that's a very usable schedule. And then I want to download it. So I'm just going to hit download schedule. I can change the name if I want. Schedule.csv. It'll download as a CSV. You can upload that into anything you really want. I'm going to open it up here just to show you what it looks like. If I can see where it went. Here we go. And there's our CSV. So you have the slot number, the date, the time, facility surface, which type, division, game number, the away team, and the home team. And you also you can pretty clearly see which slots were unused. And that concludes it. So, all told, not very long. We went through, generated a couple schedules, including one that doesn't need any manual intervention at all. Saves a lot of time, and hope to see you using it in the future.